A woman was going to cross the street, but a blind man ends up preventing her from crossing, because she was going to be run over. The woman thanks the man, but is curious because he was blind. She asks him how he knew the car was coming. The man says that it wasn't important, that the important thing was that the woman's husband was cheating on her with a dark-haired woman. The woman is surprised by this, and then the man says that he should go home to see for himself. Later, she comes home and starts calling for her husband. Her husband goes up to her and asks what happened. She asks why he's home, because he's supposed to be at work, but he says he came back early so he could fix his car. She then asks her husband why he was using that towel, and he says he was going to the bathroom so he could take a shower. At this point, the woman asks where his mistress was, and the man seems to be confused by that. She says that a blind man had told her that he was cheating on her and that her husband's mistress was there. He is very surprised by this, but says that he was not with anyone and that he was alone in the house. At that moment, the woman hears a noise and asks what it is. The man says he didn't know, but that it shouldn't be anything. The woman says she would see what she is and goes up to their room. She then begins to search for her husband's mistress, but is unable to find her. She asks her husband again, "Good morning," his lover was, but the man says he was alone in his house. The woman said that she didn't believe him and starts looking for her, but the man again said that he was alone and that he wasn't cheating on his wife. She gets confused, says she wasn't understanding what was going on, and the man again said he wasn't cheating on his wife. She then apologizes to her husband and tells him that she didn't understand what was going on there. The man asks what had happened to his wife that she was acting that way, and she says that a blind man had said it to her. She says that the blind man knew a lot about her and that this ended up making her very confused. The man said that his wife should not believe what the man had said, as he should only want her money. The woman tells him that he was right and that she would go back to the park so she could run. She says goodbye to him, and the man says he would come back for his bath. As she leaves, another woman appears and embraces the man. She said she was glad that now his wife was gone. The man seems to be confused and wonders who could have told his wife about his mistress. The other woman said she didn't know and that they shouldn't worry about it. He then tells her to wait a while as he was going to take a shower. She then asks if the man, before going to work, couldn't stay with her for a while. The man says that he would always have time to be with his mistress and that they should go to the bedroom. Later, the woman goes back to the blind man and asks him why he said her husband was cheating on her. She says that she had gone to her house and that her husband was alone there. She then asks why the man is telling those lies to people, but he says that the worst blind man was the one who didn't want to see the truth. She then asks what he was talking about, and at that point he says he would show her the truth. He then tells her that from that moment on, she would be able to see if her husband was really telling the truth and that she would not be able to lie to anyone anymore either. He then tells her that he needed to leave to see other truths in the world, and then leaves, leaving the woman not understanding what had happened. Later, the woman was with her husband and she was saying that she was very sorry that she had doubted him. She apologizes to him, but he tells her she didn't have to worry about it. She then asks him why he is so focused on his phone, and he says that he was solving some of his work matters. The woman then asks her husband what the result of multiplying between 4 times 4 is. He asks what she was talking about, and she says she just wanted to know what the result was. He says she's 16, and the woman tells him to tell her another number. He asks what it was that she was talking about, and she said she just wanted him to say another number. He doesn't seem to understand what she was talking about and then says that the result was 20. At that moment, the man's eyes begin to light up and the woman is very surprised by that. She said he was lying and the man said he was clearly lying. She then asks the man if he had ever cheated on her, but he says he didn't want to talk about it anymore. She then asks the man if he really hadn't cheated on her, and he says he had never cheated on his wife. His eyes again turn red and the woman says he was lying to her. He then asks her if she had ever cheated on him and she says no, but her eyes also turn red. He is surprised by this and asks if the woman had really ever cheated on him. She says she had never cheated on her husband, but he said he didn't believe her anymore and asked her to leave his house. She says that she had never cheated on her husband and that she wanted to talk about it, but he said he didn't want to talk to her and asked her to leave and never come back. Later, he was with his mistress and she tells him not to be sad as they were going to be together now. The man says he was just thinking about what his wife had said to him. The mistress asks what he was talking about and he says that his wife had said that when he lied his eyes turned red, but when she also lied, her eyes turned red. The mistress asks what the woman had lied about and the man says that she had already cheated on him. She tells the man not to worry about it, because now they could be together, but the man says that he was going to take his revenge on his wife, because he wasn't going to let it end that way. The other woman says that she liked the way he thought and that she would help him. He asks if she would help him with his plan and she said she would do anything for him. Sometime later, the woman was walking down the street when another man walked up to her and asked if it was her car. She says yes and he says she didn't need to worry, but that he had bumped into her car. He said he would pay for all the repair and that she didn't have to worry about it. She says she didn't care and then leaves. Then she says that the truth was that he had seen her a few times and that he used that as an excuse to talk to her. She asks him what he wanted to talk to her about and he says that he had seen her a few times and thought she was very beautiful. He said he'd like to go out with her someday. She is very surprised by this and then she says that she would very much like to be able to go out with him. He asks her if she would like to go to a concert she would be having in that city, as he had won some tickets. She said yes and then he says he wanted her number so they could get in touch, but at this point the man appears and asks if he was getting in the way of something. The woman asked what the man was doing there and he says he was just walking down the street and that he saw her, but that he didn't want to disturb her affairs. The other man asks who that person was and the woman says that this was her ex-husband. The man says that, despite being her ex-husband, the woman still liked him very much. The other man asks if that was true, but the woman says no. He then tells her that since she was saying that was a lie, she should remove the glasses she was wearing, but she says she wouldn't do that. The other man asks what was going on and then the man says that every time the woman lied, her eyes lit up. The other man asks what the man was talking about and the woman says he didn't have to worry about it as they were going to the concert together. The man then tells her that she should remove her glasses and tell him that she still didn't love him. She then removes her glasses and says that she no longer loved her ex-husband, but her eyes turn red. The man says that he was telling the truth and that the other man could ask her anything he wanted. He then asks if the woman would like to go to the concert with him and she says yes, but her eyes turn red. The man says he had told the other man that she was lying. He then says he didn't want to stay there anymore, so he leaves. The woman asked him why he did it and the man said she still loved him very much. She then walks away and the man tells her she couldn't lie to him. Sometime later, the woman was in the same park and she was looking for someone. She said she couldn't find that person, but at that moment she realizes that the blind man was sitting on a bench. She goes up to him and tells him she needed to talk to him. He asks her to sit down and tells her that he already knew what she wanted to talk about with him. She then tells the blind man that she didn't want to be with that curse anymore, because it was getting in the way of her life, and that she couldn't be around people anymore. She says that the situation with her ex-husband was very difficult, but that she didn't want it to affect her life and that she wanted to be around new people who would make her feel good. He then proceeds to tell the woman that he had already told her that the worst blind man was the one who didn't want to see the truth. He tells her that the only way she would be able to make that curse go away was for her to see her true essence and never lie to herself again. He says that when she lied to herself, she ended up lying to other people as well. He said that only in this way would the woman be able to undo the curse that was on her. She says she already knew what she needed to do and then leaves. Later, she goes up to the other man and he asks her what she would like to talk to him about. She says that she would like to apologize to him for the way things had happened and that she would really like to go out with him. He then asked her why she was saying that, as she had said she didn't want to go out with him, but she said that wasn't true and that she really wanted to go out with him so they could get to know each other better. He then asks her if she was ever over her ex and she says yes and that now she didn't love him anymore. He says she seemed to be telling the truth as her eyes weren't shining. He tells her that she really was telling the truth, and the man asks if she would like to go out with him. She says yes, so they leave. Sometime later, the blind man was again in that square, and at that moment he tells another woman that she should not trust her family. She is confused by this and asks what he was talking about. He tells her that she shouldn't trust her family as they were stealing her money.